All right, welcome to another episode. We're going to do another interview today, and it's going to be really exciting. It's a whole platform of not just one book, but a whole platform that we're going to talk about. So, my name's Shane.
I'm Paul.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Mike. Let's get this show started.
All right. So, Haydes, welcome to the show. Just do me a favor, just tell us a little bit about yourself and about the whole platform that you've got going on here.
Yeah, I will do. Thanks for having me on. I started ASAP in 2020. It was weird. Obviously, I've been a lifelong geek, since I was 8, and I turned 42 last month. Yeah, last month, geez. So I've always been a fan. I always wanted to do something, and then obviously when the world changed to what it was in 2020, I thought I've got time. So I put together the idea of starting the platform where I wanted to just create comics, but also on the plus side of it, I was also a writer. I've been published as a prose poet before, so I wanted to kind of combine the worlds a little bit. I really like the idea of doing both. I worked with a friend of mine called Laurie Cunningham, wonderful, wonderful person, and said, "Hey, I've got this idea. Do you want to write this book with me while I'm also writing this comic? It's all set in the same world, like this kind of continuity." She wasn't a comic book fan at the time. I fully corrupted her. It's so great. She is a huge comic book fan now. So we wrote a book called Points of Villainy, Points of Virtue, and it's like the catalyst for this world that I created. And it's about an event that happens. Slowly things start leaking into, it's based in London, and things start leaking in, and people swear that they've seen or heard or something or experienced something. And then all of a sudden, over the course of like one weekend, just there's like an explosion, an eruption of all this chaos and evil, and it attacks London city. And then literally within 24 hours, we're then immediately saved by these bizarre beings, and then everything disappears, and everyone's stood there kind of going, "What just happened?" And the heroes of old, or as I like to call, the kind of costumed underpants on the outside and a cloak, those kind of heroes.
Those guys.
Those guys, but in my world, those are the people that failed or they fell during the event. And then what happened was, within 12 months, a new breed of kind of darker hero kind of came about. So we did the prose book, and then we released the first comic, which was called Messiah. We released those literally simultaneously. And I have a copy of the book here, and the reason I have it with me is because I always forget. So I tell people about it and then forget to show them. So the thing is with the book, so there's Points of Villainy, which is the first part, and there's Points of Virtue, which is the second part. And so it's like halfway through the book, when it ends, the whole thing flips over. We had a lot of fun with this, not only for writing, 'cause it's very dark, and it's weird to say. I had really like loads of fun writing this dark stuff, but also in the creation of the book, because we were putting it through recognized platforms to start with, and we were going to put it through Amazon, and I got a proof copy from my printer and a proof copy from Amazon, where they have like the grey bit across the front that says proof copy. So I was like, great, this is fine. So I clicked OK. Within 24 hours, they rejected me and said, we can't print this. And I went, no, you can. And they were like, no, we can't. And I was like, no, I have proof that has the word proof written on it that says you can. How many times do I need to say proof? And in the end, they said, we can't. So I immediately was like, fine, I'm not changing it. So we put it out through our own platform, through our own site. And then from there, I realized we could do our own digital. So we did that as well. And it's now grown and grown and grown and grown and grown and grown and grown. In actuality, ASAP is actually 3 platforms. So it's 2 years have gone. They've flown by, and at the same time, it's been mental in a great way. In a nutshell.
That's awesome. It's fun.
Yeah.
It seems like we've heard, from a lot of folks that we've talked to, that the pandemic was like that turning point for them to be like, you know what, screw it. Now it's time to jump in and do something with my time and to get started here. And I said that too during the pandemic, and I just drank a lot, but but you actually turned the whole business on.
It's called creative medicinal purposes.
Yeah, and we stand by that. No,
Totally.
It was. I had lost my job just before the pandemic hit. So I'd gone from I was a recruitment consultant. I was one of those clean shaven in a suit, walking around kind of going, yeah, I hated it, kind of people. And then when we all got locked in, and obviously I couldn't go and look for a new job. And how it kind of came about for me was bizarre but brilliant. It was like, so what happened was we have the job centre over here, and they're called the Department of Work and Pensions. So what happened was I get a phone call from this guy. I'm your new work coach. I said, well, I can't do anything. Where am I going to go? So I researched, and I'd found this program, or this thing that they did, where they help you start a small business. And it's a small amount of money, but it's enough for me. I was like, that's enough to get my website up and running. That's enough to take a step. So I signed up for the program. I jumped through the hoops. I did a business plan. I crossed all my T's, dotted all of my I's, all the et ceteras. I mean, it was great. At the same time, it was weird because they were like, what kind of business do you want to do? And I was like, comics. And I think, when you say that, some people
they're
go,
they're like stand up. You're like, no.
yeah, I've done that too. But yeah, so I was like, I want to make comics, and they were like, sure. So I said, well, okay, and I did it, and then I set my site up, and I got this thing, and then you have to prove that you're doing what you say you're going to do. So I was sending them in my analytics from my website. I was like, here we go. But what was great is we had such a great spike of things really early on. So I get another phone call from the work coach, and he said, well, he actually starts the conversation with, weird thing. Most of us say hello, but sure, carry on. And he was like, the powers that be have been interested in you, and I was like, you instantly go, what have I done? Oh God. And he was like, I think it's like local news. And I was like, cool. Okay. Yeah. So he's like, can they give you a call? Sure. 2 days later, I get a phone call from the DWP head office, which that is not local, that's national. Yeah. So I was like, it's like squeaky bum time. So I thought, this is weird. And they interviewed me as a success story, and I was very honoured by this. And then I get a phone call from a newspaper a couple of days later, and then a day or so after that, I get a phone call from this guy from the DWP, and he's like, I work for the film and media department. I've seen your thing kind of floating around. I'm a massive geek. And I was like, cool. So what he did was they came to me with it was so bizarre. They gave me a budget and said, we want to turn you into a small cartoon documentary.
What?
This. Right?
Saturday morning kids cartoons. I can see it.
I know, right? Yeah. If the Hulk was slightly unwell today.
With the name of Haydes. Perfect.
Yeah.
It's ready made for cartoons.
Right. So they did, and they gave a budget, and we got one of the artists to draw me. I remember sending, because she was like, I'll need pictures of you. because she'd seen me, but she wanted all different angles. And I was like, for the love of God, make this look good, please. Please. So she did. And then, they made this like mini documentary, and then they put it out. And I was there kind of going, this is insane. What the sweet hell has just happened? And now we've got 3 platforms, and we sell all over, and we're at cons now. It's crazy.
So all within a couple of years, you got. I mean, you started the business. You got on national television. You got your own documentary made.
I mean that is one thing that's unique. I think, Hades, to your story that we haven't really heard before with the folks that we've spoken to, and all the creators, was that they got noticed sort of at that higher level. Were able to catch the attention of someone somehow, and your work was supported. Typically, creators are struggling, really self-promoting, and of course you've done that too. But luckily you had that good fortune, and that's to your credit. I mean, obviously without the work and the effort that you put out there, you could have 1,000 people look at it and nobody says that's the guy. But luckily with the work that you and your team put out, just creating. That's really cool. That's great to hear. It's nice to get that higher level of recognition, and then to have somebody who, of course, they're that closet Star Wars, Star Trek geek, and goes, dude, I can do something with you, and you're, you got that Han Solo like.
Yeah. Oh no, it was awesome. Yeah, it was.
Awesome.
It was very cool. It was very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations. That's super impressive. I mean, you should be absolutely 100% proud of yourself to get that much done in 2 years.
I
really,
appreciate it. It's been surreal. Like, I joke about being an insomniac, but I really don't sleep that much. It's the first time it's been useful. When I was working a 9 to 5, it was not useful.
No,
right.
When you have to deal with people here, and you're kind of going, it's not useful. But
and hell with that shaving shit too, right?
You
got a whole thing now. You got to maintain that.
Trim your beard down, cover your tattoos.
Yeah.
Stop swearing. This is a work pack.
Stop swearing. We got to have more swearing.
Yeah,
that's like
right.
That's like that old joke I heard in the 70s. Hey, I'm trying to change. I'm not smoking. I'm not drinking. I'm not swearing. God damn it! I left my cigarettes back at the bar.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. That's it's exactly right. That's definitely me in a big nutshell. I'm very well behaved. But I don't know. I didn't fit the 9 to 5. It wasn't me. I did it, because I've got kids, so it's your duty to do it, and you do it. And then when this all changed, and I was just like, how crazy that it went. And I'd say about the other platforms, because as I say, we've got our main continuity, which is where everything's based in that same world, and we've now got. Well, come 2023, we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 titles, I think, that we'll have. So we started with Messiah, and then in May, someone had said to me, the one problem with independents is they can't do consistency. They can't do one a month. I instantly thought, challenge accepted. I'll fight you. I'll do this.
Right.
So and I just thought, now I'm doing this. So in May, May was when we hit the ground really running. With Messiah and Points of Villainy and Virtue, that was the foundation, and we had to work hard to build things up. But in May, we were fortunate enough to go, right, okay. So in May we did OPSEC, June we did Dead of Night, July we did Sister Grimm, August we did Whole, and then we've just done. For September, we did OPSEC issue 2, and we've got Points of Villainy Part 1, where we're turning the book into a comic. That's coming at the end of this month. Messiah issue 2 in November, and then Points of Villainy Part 2 in December. and then we're introducing a new title in January. How's that going? January. So we've so far, again, touch wood, we've managed to do the one a month. So whether it's a title or an issue, we've been able to do that. And do you know what? I'm just incredibly lucky with the people I get to work with. Incredibly lucky.
And so, real quick, Hayden. So, what is your role in all of these various books? You say you got 6 going on. Are you writing all of them, or you have other artists that come on board as well?
So I'm writing. I do the writing for Messiah, Dead of Night, Person, which we will be released in 2023, and Whole. And then Laurie Cunningham is writing Sister Grimm, and Dave Howard, or Nem, as we all know him, is writing OPSEC. So I'm the idiot that was just like, I'll do 4. And then we have different artists for those. And then together, what me and Laurie are doing is we are turning. So the book is 16 stories. Some of them aren't going to translate to comics, you know. So what we've done is we've taken 12 and we're turning them into 2 trilogies. So we're doing 2 stories per comic. So Point of Villainy part 1, 2, 3, and then we'll do Points of Virtue part 1, 2, 3. They come out every 2 months.
Very cool.
So I got 2 quick questions for you, Haydes. Oh, sorry, Ben. I guess the first question is, how did you get connected with some of the other creators that you've worked with? Because obviously, as you branch out, it can't be the same group of creators. Otherwise, it'll be really hard to stay on schedule or try to maintain, that grind that you've sort of entered into. So that's one question. How did you get connected with other creators? And then I guess the second part of my question is, as you do anthologies, that becomes even more difficult because now it's not 1 issue, 1 story, next issue continuation. If you've got 2 stories per issue or 3 issues or 3 stories per issue or however you decide to, construct that, now are you adding more creators or, what does that look like? So I guess it's sort of a continuation of the same question, but it just talks about how you've brought in, I guess what I'm looking for is how you've brought in all these other creators that you've trusted because if you're writing and creating, you're handing it over to somebody, and does it look like what you expected and hoped it would?
No, well, I would say one, I have been extremely lucky. Like I've just organically met some great people. I was lucky enough to work with. I met I don't know if you know Comic Crusaders. I met Al, who runs Comic Crusaders, about 2.5 years ago. Became friends with him. I actually did some podcasts for them, and I did some writing for them as well, writing reviews for things. And then obviously, like I say, I met Laurie through author Twitter, and then fully corrupted her. She's now a comic book writer, a huge indie fan. She's done 2 cons herself. What have you done to me? You're welcome.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah. You can never leave. I'm like Kathy Bates at the door now. Go and write. So yeah, and then I met some of the artists just through social media, and I also think it has a lot to like. I'm quite cheeky. I'll just ask stuff and just do you want to try it? Do you want to give it a go? And when I started to meet some of the artists originally, so again, you learn your lessons as you grow and you go forward. But because I wanted to do continuations on things, what I do is when I find an artist and I see that relationship's good, I sign them up for a 4-issue arc. So they've got consistent work then.
Sure.
And then I'm also when it comes to the writing process, partly I just want them to go nuts sometimes because I won't give an overly detailed panel. I'll give them reference material because they might not be from the UK. And I'll say, this is what the street in London would look like. This is the this, that, and the other. But go crazy, man. I don't care. They'll say, oh, what does this creature look like?
You tell me.
What do you think it looks like?
Right.
You know,
Make it hideous. The more hideous,
Yeah.
the better.
yeah, exactly. Just chuck your input in there. We were working on the one story, and I described this monster with very, very few words, and the artist was just like, "Can I just do what I want?" And I went, "Yeah, let's see what happens." And he showed me the picture, and I was like, "That's oh, that's brilliant!" But I loved it, and I just thought,
Yeah.
this is great. And it's
That's awesome.
collaborative as well. Yeah, I think it's so great, and again, we try and have as much fun as possible. Like I say, it's chaotic sometimes because obviously I'm juggling a few things. I'm trying to write, and you know yourself. You've got to market what you do as well. Bloody social media. I feel so old sometimes. I feel so old sometimes. My daughters are 23 and 18, and they were like, my one daughter was like, "Oh, Dad, you should do TikTok. TikTok's great." I've heard of this tickety tockety,
Tickety tockety.
I sound like my dad. I sound like my dad.
Just when you master Facebook, all of a sudden they got Twitter and they got Instagram, and you're like, okay, let's try it all. I guess. What does it look like? I don't know. Just throw it up there.
I know it's awful, but I sound like my dad saying hip hop. The hippity hoppity down at the discotheque. Like no. So I had to learn a lot. So it's like we've got LinkedIn, we've got TikTok, we've got Instagram, we've got Twitter, we've got Facebook, we've got Headache. It's just there's a lot there, and so you have to try and juggle all that. But I said to someone the other day, I would rather have my worst day doing this than my standard day doing the 9 to 5.
Damn right.
Absolutely.
You're here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
all the credit to you. It's like the old joke: the worst day fishing is better than the best day at the office.
Yeah.
Because you're still sitting in a boat with nobody around.
Exactly. Well, that's it. I work from home. I work from home, and it's great as well because when you work from home and you kind of because I work funny hours because a lot of people I work with are in the States or Canada so my time zones are slightly out. So like daytime to me, I'm like if you've ever seen What We Do in the Shadows where the vampire's looking and he's like nighttime. I'm like that, but it's like I don't want to see daytime.
Right.
So
it's like Las Vegas. They don't have a window or a clock in the place.
Yeah. No. If I could board them up, I'd board them up. I got to work on my tan, But so I work funny hours, so I can kind of just keep my own hours. It's fine,
Okay, so you're talking about you're writing for the titles now, right? How do you find it difficult to mentally jump between the different stories as you're continuing each one, or because they're all in the same universe? Is it like now you're just kind of looking at it from different perspectives? Can you walk us through that? That sounds like a challenge to me.
It can be. Yeah, it can be, but because a lot of it centers around this event, this kind of horrible, few days, I can always backpedal to where I want to be. And because, if you love Doctor Who or if you love Star Trek or Star Wars, we're always looking for the expansion, we're always looking for the Easter eggs. So even when I'm writing one title, I've still got another one in mind because I'm like, I can Easter egg into that one. Where we can do this into this one. So sometimes I'll be doing some writing and might ring them, or I might speak to Laurie and go, "Ooh, when you get to your issue 3, just put this in for me," or something like that. Because again, it's we love Easter eggs. They're so great. We're so nerdy. I don't care, but you still go, "It's there. I see it." And I think having that in my head allows me to build better, and because some of the stories are interconnected anyway, because the plan is to do the 4 story arcs to establish the character and their part within the world, and then when we've done the 4 issue arcs, then we're moving on to start crossing characters over, and I'm going to pay attention to what people like and what they read more, and look at sales and go, well, people like this character, what can we do with this character? Let's push this character into this title and see what happens. So we kind of, once these arcs are over, then I think it's may chaos, reign free. kind of thing, and just kind of cross as much as we can.
It's great. It's great. All these characters are yours. You can cross them over. You can do what you want with them. That's pretty great. Even and we talk to a lot of creators about this, and you've got Marvel and DC who can, they'll do what they want when they want, but the creators don't have 100% control. There's always a bigger picture, right? There has to be do what you want, but within the construct of what we've established. And any deviation requires the overlords to approve. So that's the thing with being a independent creator. Nobody's telling you what you can and can't do with your characters, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun in terms of how we market things as well. So because I just thought, well, let's do, because once we broke away from any other digital platform, we did it all ourselves. So you can buy the print from us and the digital from us. It gave me free reign to market however I wanted, and I just thought, this is cool. And we have a character called Foe, and Foe is recognizable by his mask.
I saw that. It's like a steel mask.
Yeah, his clothes change. What I wanted essentially was the cheapest cosplay you could possibly get. Right? Marketing.
How do we get this into Comic-Con?
Right.
It's a mask.
I just one day sea of faux faces. So what we did is we designed. Obviously, we had his mask designed, and then we did a printable version of his mask that you can get for free off the website. So you print it, cut it out, put it on, take a picture, hashtag friend of foe, and then tag us, and then you can win a prize. I did this thinking, see what happens. All of a sudden, I'm just getting all these pictures of people in the foe mask, and I was like, oh, this is bloody brilliant. And yeah, it was just a stupid marketing tool that I just thought would be fun. And now I'm like, oh, these are great. So when I last did a con, and Laurie's done it as well, we take them with us to the cons, and we put them on a table for free. And then just on the inside of the mask is a QR code. There's my business card. Put it on your face.
Good call. Yeah.
And again, it was just a fun marketing tool. It was just something that I wanted to do. And I think, again, when you've got free reign, even if an idea is kind of a little bit crazy, try it. You can find out if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You just stop doing it. Just live and learn.
Well, that's what we were going to do now. Actually, we were talking about printing out Shane's face, and then people could wear that at Comic Cons.
Nobody wants that. They want to scare people. I think maybe that for Halloween that would be a good. Good platform.
I'll make space on the table, man. I'm in. Let's do this. Friend of foe or Shane.
Yeah,
that's actually how we rank our books, like based on success. It's not 4 stars; it's 4 Shane heads. So
yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, you're going to become an emoji.
Yeah. I know. That's the last thing I need.
All I'm
that's
saying.
His nickname.
TikTok filter. I'm learning TikTok filter. Yeah, you can Shane it up.
Clean it.
Yeah,
that's right. We need some digital help.
You could have it in there, and it could be the Shane frame. Just boom.
Yes. Well, Haydes, I wanted to ask you one more thing. You had talked about how you just got incredibly lucky. You tapped into the right thing, and people started reaching out to you. But one thing I wanted to mention was that we had been lucky enough to interview a lot of people from around the world, and a couple of people from the UK. And one of the things that I distinctly remember is that they spoke about the community within the UK comic book industry. And did you feel like you got a lot of support from that industry, that community in the UK?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. One of the things that I found that was the most refreshing was when you were reaching out to shops and saying, once they'd obviously opened back up, but when, and said to them, this is who I am. I did like an emailer thing, and again, it's like I never want to be overly formal, so I would start my emails with, "Hi, I'm Haydes. How the devil are you?" And then I just kind of talk about this is what I've got, and I'd send them the we have what's known as our LCS packs. So we send LCS packs out, and it's a free digital version of Messiah issue 1, and some samples from our second platform, which I'll explain, and then our catalogue and our order form, and what I loved was how responsive people were. And there was one guy who was literally just like, he literally just ordered everything, and he was just like, "This looks great," and I sent it him, and I was like, "Some of this isn't out yet, by the way. There's little brackets that say when it's out," and he was like, "Oh no, that's fine. I will continue to accept deliveries from you." And I was like, "Okay, good. Just so we're clear." So he opens the box and goes, "It's not all here, you know." But yeah, but the
It
response
was a
from
test.
that,
You passed.
yeah, shouldn't have paid first. But yeah, but the response was great, and you go to the con, and people were really supportive, and I made so many great friends to the first con that we went to over here. And yeah, I definitely think that, but I think given the beauty of the internet, in general, the community is great. You know, I think it's cliche, but it's one I'm proud to be part of, because you know, I've met people who are creators. I've met people like yourselves who do podcasts and stuff like. Everyone wants to lift everyone else up, you know. The amount of times I've been on one of my friends' podcasts, just in the chat when they do theirs on for YouTube, and the amount of times that I've watched it and then just gone, "Oh, I've got to go to Kickstarter again now because this book sounds awesome." Yeah.
Yeah.
And
They can suck you in.
oh, so you go, "You brilliant son of a bitch." Yeah.
So much for
then,
my idea. Back to
yeah,
the board.
and then you end up buying other people's books, but it's a
Right.
wicked community. No, it really is great, and I suppose that can if lead me on to talk about this second platform.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we have a second platform called the NE1 World, and that platform is where we publish for other writers. It's completely separate to our main continuity. And what happened was, and it's odd actually because I'm actually wearing the T-shirt, a friend of mine called Lance Lucero, who wrote Bob Non-Union Psychic. So it's the graphic novel is called Bob Non-Union Psychic: The Big Book of Bob, Volume 1. It's incredibly difficult to say that with an overbite, but I manage it every time. But and it's a fantastic.
You know, when I saw that cover, first thing I thought of was like a more sci-fi, like Rick and Morty.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's what I love is you look at the cover and then you read through and you go, it's incredibly dark. And the clash between the artwork and the content is amazing. But Lance and me had spoken, and we decided, you know, he was like, I'd had it in comics, and I'm looking for someone to make it a graphic novel. I want to make it a book. You know, I want the trade. And I was like, okay, I'm stupid enough to give this a try. I'll do it. But what I did was I launched the NE1 World with another prose anthology that was just for charity. It was just everyone involved did it all for free, and it was for a charity for a condition called dyspraxia, which is a condition that my son has. So it's kind of near and dear to my heart. And 16 writers got involved, and we had it fully edited, all this stuff, and we released the book. So we launched the NE1 World with that. Then we did Bob. Then Lance introduced me to a guy called Malcolm Wong from Tokyo, and then we did Dog Eaters was added to the roster, which is a graphic novel kind of anime, it reminds me of that very traditional manga kind of series. Brilliant book. Then we're Shane Tideman from Australia. Then I got Simra from Abu Dhabi, and you go, okay, this is actually now taken off. And then I got Eddie from the UK, and we've now got people waiting to, who were signed up and ready to go. And what I wanted to do was give a platform. It's kind of like pay it forward. I was very lucky, but the main thing that I wanted to do, and I stress this wherever I go, all the creators maintain their rights. They don't touch their rights at all.
That's fantastic.
That's great.
I know how important it is. When I was doing this, I was so particular in saying to people, if you want to write for this, don't create new characters, or because the main continuity, I own the rights to the main continuity. If you have a story, if you have a character, put it in the NE1 World, and it's yours. And yeah, and we were very lucky with the response from people and how they jumped on board. So yeah, we have the NE1 World as well. We do the graphic novels, the comics, the digital, the merch, plug, for all of that. So it was, again, just meeting great people, you know.
How do
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean,
I'm sure some of like the listeners.
No, sorry. I was just going to say real quick. I agree with everything you said about the community. I've been reading comics since I was a kid, and that's one thing I absolutely love about this whole industry is just the welcoming nature of it. And going to Comic Cons is just such an amazing experience. Yeah. You get people from all different walks of life, and for that 3-4 days of the Comic Con, they're all just nerds.
Yeah,
and, so I love that. I love it. Sorry, Ben, go for it.
No. I was just gonna ask. So for NE1 World, if I'm sure some of the listeners and viewers might be interested in like, how can I get involved? Do they just go to the website and sign up, or
yeah, if you just
how
go
do they get involved with that?
NE1world.com, and if you have a look at the submissions page, we have it in there. Because what we do is you'll look in, you'll have a look through and scroll down, but what we then do is we create the catalogue for that person. So there'll be a picture of the cover, a synopsis, and then you'll see a little button, and you click on that, and what it does is it bypasses all my main continuity, and it goes straight to their catalogue. So for Bob, for example, it takes you to a catalogue that has the graphic novel, paperback, hardcover, and merch and stuff like that. And you can literally just shop for whoever you're supporting at that time. And again, it's all the rights are maintained by them. So I work with them when we're doing the marketing. I don't just go, we're going to do this and it's going to be brilliant. It's working with them and deciding what works and what doesn't, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been cool.
That's awesome, and we'll put all the links underneath the video.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we'll have all the links there. So don't forget to check the viewers and listeners. Don't forget to check the show notes, or if you're watching us on YouTube, just look at the show description there. We'll have all the links for you.
I appreciate it. Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, I mean, I'm just so happy for you of all your success. You seem like a super great guy. So, it's good, nice when good things happen to good people. So, I appreciate you coming on the show and telling us all about it. It's fantastic.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Keep doing what you're doing, man. I think it's great that you keep expanding your circle and keep creators busy and keep good stuff coming out because, comics has been, put in the ground and in the graveyard a million times, and they keep coming back, right? So keep going.
No, thank you. I will do. Thank you very much. No, I appreciate it. I described to someone that I thought that 2020 was what I referred to as the rise of the independents. I definitely thought it was our time.
Yep. Comics is a renaissance. It really is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, completely agree.
Excellent. Yeah. Best of luck to you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for tuning in for another episode. This was fantastic, getting to know Haydes and all about his work. So please hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell so we can keep bringing you content like this, and we'll see you on the next one.